What's up, OG? First one in here. Value Investor, PD, NH1, Kafil, Pat, Baron Cali. What's going on, my guy? Stockster Poker, Chris, Wagner, Ajay Shander, Luciana, Steven. What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in. Buelltex, Sam, good morning, man. Nice to see everybody. Alex, how's it going? JT Bills, Sapro, Redondo, Bing Bong, Noah, No Easy. The gang is pulling up. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. DeMarcus, how's it going, man? Matthew, Aaron, Legacy Trader, my boy Jamora. Let's get it, everybody. Pat, how's it going? Simon, good to see you. Sticks, Alex, Will. Oh, Golf Guy. What's going on, brother? What's going on, man? Saul, how's it going? I'm just going to wait another minute, let the gang come in, and then we're going to get started. Let me know if there's any problems with the voice or with the stream. Chris, Patrick, Gabe, good to see you guys. My voice is going in and out. I think I'm having a little bit of connection issues, not gonna lie. Keith, haha, how's it going, man? Stream keeps buffering. All right, let me see what I could do here. Yeah, it's lagging right now. I'm not so sure why. Stream is lagging. Big lag. Okay. My bad, guys. Let me try to figure this out. Dang. Lagging hard. All right, dang. Sorry about the lag, but like everything else is okay? Like in general, can you guys still keep up with the stream? I think my Wi-Fi is just being a little slow right now. Not working at all. Let me see. All right, bear with me, folks. I'm gonna try to fix it. All right, I'm gonna try to fix it, and then if I get cut off, then I'm gonna restart the stream. So bear with me, guys. And let me know in the chat if it's getting any better. Thanks. All right, getting better? Still super delayed. Hey, Shakriada. Nice to see you too. All right, if it gets any better, just please let me know in the chat. I'm working on it a bit. Okay. In general, it's okay? It's better now? Okay, perfect. So let's get started. Oh, Sap says still no improvement. Dang. We're good? All right, perfect. Okay, so you guys are saying it's improved. All right, let's get started. So, Jamie Meltup, obviously right around the corner. So I just wanted to mostly get on here and talk a bit about options, because I'm sure it's still really bad. Dang. Okay. I'm just gonna roll with it. If it's really bad, then you guys just let me know. But should be okay. Looks like enough of you guys are saying it's okay. Okay, so real quick, my main message today is not just about more analysis about the stock, but this is much more of like a personal message to a lot of you. I know many of you probably bought options for the Meltup and trying to make like a big payday. So that's really what I'm going to discuss today. Again, if you want to go back, I'll just do a quick rewind. My thesis for the Meltup boils down to this weekly trigger, monthly trigger crossover that we saw. So if you go back to December 2020, you'll see that there was a bullish crossover here where the weekly trigger crossed above the monthly trigger. And I posted a tweet about it saying that this is, our Meltup signal that we use. We've seen this signal in many stocks. For example, Tesla, Wolf, AMC, GME back in 2020, NVIDIA, SPY, Bitcoin. This is the pattern that we look for to identify Meltup setups, the weekly trigger crossing the monthly trigger. And it kind of represents bulls taking full control over the stock. And with a stock like GameStop, once bulls take full control and the stock starts to move and the FOMO starts to kick in, that is what leads to short covering. And that's why we see these fierce Meltup type moves to the upside. So way back in May, just to give a little reminder, I was very adamant that I did not think the squeeze had begun yet. And my reasoning was simple. I said, I don't think we'll have a Meltup until the weekly trigger crosses the monthly trigger. Fast forward 6 months of grueling price action, where for literally a 2-month straight stint, the weekly trigger was attempting to cross above the monthly trigger. But look at all the fighting that was going on. Major battleground between bulls and bears, like major. Like severe battling between bulls and bears going on over this 2-month stretch. And once the weekly trigger crossed above the monthly trigger, that was it. The bulls won. GG's, as they say. So that was a monumental crossover for GameStop. And this is what led to the incoming Meltup. Now, this is what I have on my screen. I think realistically, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks of vicious upside price action where, we push up a little bit, pull back a little bit, but then pretty much go vertical to the upside. And I've showed many correlations between Bitcoin and GameStop and how it perfectly aligns with the Bitcoin halving cycles. So, for those that missed this, basically the previous halving cycle was in May 12th. All right, so we'll do May 13th, but just understand that this is supposed to be May 12th. And then the previous halving cycle was on April 19th. And if you're wondering, why this matters, is because from the Bitcoin halving cycle to the start of the GME squeeze in 2020 was just about 245 days. And fast forward here, the Bitcoin halving event until a couple of days from now is also going to be that same 245 days. And it's not just as much as comparing the days, but also the price action on Bitcoin and the price action on GameStop has been pretty much the same. And so what I'm expecting is, somewhere around December 20th, give it like 5 days before, 5 days later, that's when I expect to start seeing this massive candle like we saw here on January the 13th. So this massive candle where price went from $5 to a high of $9.57 and closed at $7.70 or whatever it was. That candle I think is coming anytime around December 20th. So again, give or take 5 days on each side. And, just in the Bitcoin price action, again, here was the previous all-time high, and then you had halving, and then price broke all-time high. And once price broke all-time high, it exploded higher, did, a little bit of a pullback and some range-bound price action, and that's when GME started its move. And then Bitcoin ripped to new all-time highs and completed the cycle. So broke all-time high, made a huge move, consolidated and pulled back, and that's when GME started its rally. And then Bitcoin finished to top out at all-time high. So if we fast forward to today, we see something strikingly similar. We see Bitcoin breaking above its previous all-time high. We see a sharp, powerful push higher, followed by some consolidation. And that is the window where GME is expected to lift off. So everything looking extremely promising for our Meltup that begun as predicted once the weekly trigger crossed above the monthly trigger. And while there is a lot of money to be made with options on this move, what I'm here to talk about is more so responsibility. And let me explain what I mean by that. So there's been many times in my life where I've been positioned very early, some might even say too early, to a very, very, very big upside move in stocks. Over the past 4 years, I've had no problem identifying Meltups forming, but what I do have is a problem taking profits and not being greedy. And a large part of that came from, my first options trade back in May 2021, where I bought, a couple of hundred AMC $40 calls when price was at $9 and sold them when price was above 50, and made, some really good money there. And because that was kind of my first major options play, I guess I got kind of used to the feeling of thinking that you only win when you're going to make generational wealth. And since then, I've been early to many trades, and unfortunately, due to greed and due to my own emotions, I've failed to take profit on time. Obviously, it's a major focus that I've been working on. And of course, I'm getting better, as with anything that you focus on and put work in and put effort into. And for example, for this GME Meltup, a lot of you have seen me give a price target of 130. That is not a price target for the Meltup. That is a price point where I personally am looking to exit my options position, even if GME goes to 1,000. All right. I bought these options to make a win. I didn't buy these options to sell at the very, very, very top of the move. I bought them to make a win. And the last thing I'm going to do here, after 4 years of learning lessons and playing Meltups and playing various squeezes, is you only win when you sell. And I'm talking about options here, not shares. And so the message of this stream is kind of to plead with everybody that if you really make a huge win on this options trade, you really don't have to get greedy with the move and think you need the top. You think you need to sell the absolute top. So again, very, very, very important is that if you make a big gain here, all right, try if you can to learn from so many previous mistakes that I unfortunately made, and so much pain that I put myself through for no reason by holding on a little bit longer, trying to get a little bit more gains, and then losing it all. And remember, options expire. So if you guys are in something shorter dated, just keep in mind that like options do expire. And if you make a great gain on this, you can put that money to good use, working slowly, efficiently, passively. For example, if you turn a 10K option position into a 70K win when price is, let's say, at 100 or 130, even if price is going to 700 on this move, and like, yes, if you would have held, you could have made incredible amount of gains. But what happens if 130 is the top and then price goes back to 60 and your options lose 80% of your value, and you had 80K in your hand from a 10K investment and now it's back at 20? That's really discouraging and a really hard thing to go through. And the reason why I know is because unfortunately I went through it way too many times. And so for me, my plan and what I've been telling the Discord a lot is the main point of this move, for me at least, after holding the stock for 4 years, is to capitalize on this move, but sell my options. And then even if it's early, I don't mind selling early. I mind selling late. But even if I sell early, the plan is to just take profit no matter what, whether it's taking profit incrementally at each, price point. So 50, 75, 100, just taking profit along the way. It's all about not getting greedy and then using those proceeds from the GME Meltup, from the options position, to then passively invest it and make your income that way. So again, I'm not telling anybody what to do. Not telling anybody what to do. I'm not giving any kind of financial advice. But as somebody who's been in a position where I've been up life-changing money and lost it to greed, unfortunately too many times, don't make the same mistakes I made. If you have a big win, there is never anything wrong with taking some of it, all of it, trimming off the table. And that's basically it, guys. Like, really try to internalize this message, because if this plays out the way I think it will, price is going to make a considerably large upside move. But if you, in these kind of melt-up environments, holding even one day too long can turn 1,000% win into a 200% win. So again, it's all about not being greedy, guys. And again, if price goes to 130 and then price goes to 730 after you sold your options, obviously you're going to be pretty upset. So this is what I try to tell people that are involved in these big options plays. When you sell a big options play, you're going to feel one of two things. You're going to feel, dang, I sold and I could have made so much more because it went so much higher. I'm so upset. What was I thinking? I should have held on a little bit longer. That feeling sucks. Trust me, I've been there. That feeling sucks. And then there's the feeling of, dang, I was up so much money, life-changing money. Could have changed my entire life. Could have passively invested that money, for 10, 15 years, really grew it. And instead, I got greedy and held for five minutes too long and lost it all. And that feeling is soul-crushing. That feeling is despair. When you have that feeling, no amount of drinking, smoking, drugs is going to help you get rid of that feeling. It is terrible. I've been through it many times, and that's why I kind of feel the need to try to share my terrible experience and how it affected me, so that some of you guys don't have to go through the same thing. A lot of people know this, but back in July, I was up, in a huge amount on my Mara position, and then the Japanese yen carry trade fell through and hit the U.S. markets, leading to the biggest market crash and VIX spike since COVID. And, I watched that gain get wiped away right in front of my eyes, and I'd be in a much different position in life had I not gotten greedy and just taken profits. So again, my main message here is I made a lot of mistakes in trading, but I've never been bad at calling these massive moves. That I've had no problem with. What I've messed up with is getting too greedy at the top and not selling on time. And so my message is, have a plan. It doesn't have to be my plan. My plan is just my plan. It could be the worst plan ever, but it's my plan. Have your own plan. Whether that means selling in increments, like Steve just said, whether that means, selling at certain price points, whether that means charting the stock on your own and trying to figure out where the stock might top based on previous resistance, based on Fibonacci extensions, based on other factors, or based on, once you're in profit, locking in a stop loss so that you guarantee yourself a big win. But whatever it is, you're gonna feel one out of two feelings no matter what. Damn it, I should have held on a little bit longer because it's still going up. Or damn it, I had a chance and an opportunity to change my life and I held too long. And trust me, I've done both many times. And trust me on this, option number 2 is literally the worst thing you can ever imagine going through. It's pain. It's I don't want to compare it to other types of emotional pain, because there's a lot of types of emotional pain, but man, that shit hurts. As somebody who went through it too many times, unfortunately, and didn't learn on my own from my mistakes. But now I did. And now I'm ready to sell on the way up instead of on the way down. And now I'm ready to lock in profits, no matter if that means that I missed out on 50x more profits. So as for me, that's my plan with my options position, just incrementally take profits. As for my shares, as you guys have known, I've bought $140,000 worth of shares over the past week. And what's funny about that is that I bought the last batch, probably 5-10 minutes before Roaring Kitty tweeted. And if you want to know my reasoning for this, is because once the weekly trigger crosses above the monthly trigger, and you see on the right side the monthly turn strong bullish, the weekly turn strong bullish, the daily strong bullish, that means that this daily trigger right here at 26.75 is going to be extremely strong support, and this is where price will bounce. You know, if you look back to 2020, we saw it twice actually. We saw the weekly trigger cross above the monthly trigger, and then we saw this dip to the daily trigger get bought right up for a monster bounce. Let's look at this bounce for 1 second. Big bounce here, 80% bounce off the daily trigger. And then they knocked it down one more time to the daily trigger and 173% bounce only a couple of days later. So for me, when I look at this setup now where the weekly trigger is above the monthly trigger, the monthly, weekly, and daily are all strong bullish, I know that dips down to the daily trigger are going to get supported. And so when I saw price come down to the daily trigger on Thursday, it was a no-brainer for me. And in the Discord, I was telling people, you know, this is where you get the most bullish. This is where price will bounce due to the trigger orientation. And look what happened. You know, RK came and tweeted a minute later. So in general, if there's another pullback to the daily trigger, that's not really something to get scared about. Like, I did notice sentiment got pretty low after this pullback. And you guys have to understand, you know, in trading, if a stock moves 57% to the upside and then pulls back 18% to the downside, what that does is allow for this next big push higher. Anybody that knows Elliott waves know that after 1, 2 comes 3, which is the most powerful wave of them all. And so you can have melt-ups without these pullbacks to the daily trigger, which shakes out, you know, kind of chasing or FOMO retail traders, and smart money is able to load up at these big bottoms right before the next upside push. So if there's another pullback to the daily trigger, because, you know, over here, there were 2 pullbacks. There was the first one, which I'm sure shook out a lot of traders. And then there was a second one, which I'm sure shook out a lot of traders as well. So, you know, not financial advice, but I wouldn't get shaken out if there's another pullback to the daily trigger. It would just mean, if anything, that we are following the 2020 move even better. So watch out for that pullback to the daily trigger. And if it happens, in my opinion, it's a strong buy. Does anybody have any questions? Because that's mostly what I wanted to talk about today. What are your thoughts that BTC looked to be used as a hedge on GME, right as a second when RK tweeted? Could we see the inverse moves this time around in 2021? Great question. So I showed that earlier. I don't think at all that Bitcoin's going to go down as GME moves up, but let me try to scale this for you guys so you could see it a little more clearly. All right, so let's really break this down for a second. We had a huge Bitcoin pump till all-time high, and then price broke all-time high. Then we had a pretty big Bitcoin downside move, and during that downside move is when GME started. But then, you know, you could see immediately after that downside move, Bitcoin went pumping again to new all-time high. And this is a very similar story. All right, we got that huge upside move, and here's where price broke all-time high. This move to this move is the same to me as this move to this move. All right, so let's just draw on this for a second. So this to me is this. And then we had the massive breakout, and that to me is the move to 100K right here. And then we had that little pullback where GME started to get going. And this little pullback right here that GME is doing, in my opinion, is sort of the same exact pullback that we're seeing here on Bitcoin. And so yes, like in very short periods, we could see some selling of BTC maybe used as a liquidity transfer to GameStop, but I still think Bitcoin will continue higher after. That bounce was Ryan Cohn buying in after the earnings dip in 2020. Thank you very much for bringing that up, actually, because, you know, Richard Newton, his opinion, which I agree with, is that RK is going to pull the exact same playbook as as RC did back in 2020 and buy up those shares in the same way, in the same fashion, triggering, you know, his own kind of squeeze. So if you're telling me this was RC buying, then, you know, it would make a lot of sense to me that Roaring Kitty is doing the same thing at these levels, at the daily trigger. Anybody else have any questions? Do I think earnings could bring it back down? I mean, I'm not going to speak so much about earnings because like you guys know, it's more of an unknown. But the fact of the matter is earnings, no earnings, I don't see any dips below the daily trigger lasting, meaning if price moves back below the daily trigger at any point, then that's a great way to, that's a great spot to buy the dip, in my opinion. Shrike says, hey, is this true that this is just a way for you to grift and scam your followers with the shitcoins? Great question. So apparently there's a lot of people in the GME community that either do not plan on making any profit off this GME Meltup or plan on selling their shares during the GME Meltup. For me, none of those are an option. I've been here 4 years. I definitely have to make a profit on this Meltup, and I do not ever want to sell my GME shares. And so the simplest answer to me, obviously, and this is starting to become obvious to others as well, is, you know, you buy the stock that's you buy the coin that's, you know, very correlated to GME. Second, how do I get this away? So if the GME coin is gonna spike alongside with GME, like it did here in June, and like it did in Feb, and like it did in May, then it makes way more sense to me personally to buy that and sell that during the Meltup than to sell my GME shares. Although I just bought, you know, nearly 150,000 worth of GME shares with Mara Profits, I'm not willing to sell them. You know, those are in case those are an investment in GameStop, transforming into a, I forgot the word, conglomerate. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Like I'm looking for words like mammoth, but like, yeah, maybe it is conglomerate. Like a massive tech company. It's an investment on that, but I want to make money off of the Meltup. And so in the world of Solana, right? In the world of Solana, whatever's being talked about in the news does really well. And so obviously once GME is on the front page of the news, this stock, this coin is going to probably make its way to $1 billion very, very quickly, which is a 20x. So yeah, I definitely am extremely bullish on this coin. And I feel sorry, you know, I truly feel sorry for all the people fading it, for the super strong cult mentality, who you know are super against. Like, I feel really bad for them because they're going to fade an incredible opportunity to make wealth for me, for my family, for future generations, all because they were too stubborn to open their eyes and see the truth. So I'm okay with it. I'm going to speak my piece. I don't want these people following me regardless. So, you know, I told them, like, unfollow me if you don't like it. And that's it. I'm a huge fan of GME and Sol. I think the community is awesome. 50,000 holders, hardworking people. All of them hold the stock as well. And again, it's up to you. Like, do you want to sell your shares on the Meltup to make a profit? Or do you want to buy a fun meme coin, make a 10, 20x and sell that to make a profit while being able to make a profit on the Meltup and keep your entire GME position? So I think I've made that very clear. If you think that's scamming and grifting, what I would suggest to you is hitting the unfollow button on my Twitter account, and you won't ever have to see me scamming or grifting again. If that doesn't help and I still show up in your feed, just hit the block button and I'm sure you won't see it again. Yeah, about the Discord, you could see it should say Meme Stock Watch on the bottom right corner. So you can use the code MELTUP in all capital letters for a free month trial. And if you like it, you're more than welcome to stay and continue with the membership. And if you don't like it, you could email or just shoot me a DM and we will happily cancel it for you. And I am sorry about the lagging stream. We'll try to have better Wi-Fi for the next one, that's for sure. What other questions have you guys got? Your audio is bugging. Is it completely unclear? Joe, can you hear it at all, or it's completely unclear? Why do you say you don't ever want to sell your shares? Because, in my opinion, I think Ryan Cohen is a really smart CEO, and I think that he will transform this company in a big, big, big way. So I'm putting my trust in Ryan Cohen, and you know, the gaming industry is bigger than the movie industry, the TV industry, the music industry combined. All those combined. And if you believe that Ryan Cohen can take advantage of that, then behemoth. Eddie, that's the word I was looking for. Yes, behemoth, or however you pronounce it. That is the word I was looking for. Yes, thank you. And so, yeah, like for me, it's a bet on Ryan Cohen transforming GameStop into one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. And I think it's a good bet, and I'm satisfied with it. And especially the way the triggers are looking, I don't believe this is ever coming back down. I know a lot of people say that you know, it's going to be a quick pump and dump like all the other ones. Like, this is not the quick pump and dump. This is the real move, folks. This is the move that we've all been waiting for 4 years. Once we go up, this is never coming back down, in my opinion, ever. Oh man, I should really fix the audio, guys. I'm really sorry about this one. We'll try to have it much better for the next stream post Meltup. Yeah, really sorry about the audio. Is it completely unintelligible, or you guys can hear it but it's just buggy? Like, does it catch up eventually, or can you or is the stream literally unintelligible? Oh, okay, fine. If you're watching 10 minutes behind and everything is fine, then you guys will hear it all the way anyway. So any questions, I'm fine with taking. But again, my stance is very clear. I'm not telling anybody to, you know, sell your GME shares and buy the GME coin on Solana. I do analysis on things in the market. I do analysis on GameStop. I do analysis on WIF. You know, I don't know if you guys know what WIF is, dog with hat. So, you know, for example, our Discord, we are long WIF right now. That's the wrong WIF, sorry. I'll just show a quick example. Dog with hat, this is it. All right, so we went long dog with hat at $3 right here. And we went long the entire last week because of the trigger setup. Very good trigger setup. And the thing about trading is that the idea is to make money. Doesn't matter what you're making money on, but the idea is to make money. So we were able to see price holding the daily trigger and went long on WIF, and now we're up a considerable amount. So the same way, you know, WIF is a token, and I liked it, so I went long. So too with GameStop. GameStop is a token. It's more than likely going to go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x during the Meltup, depending on the velocity of the move, depending on just how much FOMO it gets. And so to me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, obviously, I'm going to go along this, and obviously, I'm going to share it as a potential way to make money. And if you can't accept that, then my channel isn't for you. Cool cat links. I did talk about options. It's going to be right in the beginning, so you can just I guess watch it after. Doc Breezy, if you want to get involved with our trading system, you can sign up at memestockwatch.com. and use the code Meltup in all capital letters. Plenty of educational videos on our system. You have sell targets for GME and Sol? Nah, like when mass euphoria hits, maybe like when GME breaks above 100 or so, and like literally the whole world is talking about it and the coin is just pumping, 100% a day, I'll probably sell out of some of my position. Probably will keep a nice chunk just for fun, because I like it. What are you looking at for dates on options? I didn't speak about specific options, but I did speak about my mentality going into a life-changing trade like this. Big O says he set the playback speed for 0.9 and the chop goes away. So if anybody wants to try that out because of the lag. Behemoth. Okay, Behemoth. Yeah. So I think Ryan will transform GameStop into a behemoth of a tech company, and that's why I bought all my recent shares, along with the fact that I think the shares will appreciate in value due to the technical setup of the stock. But those shares are not to be sold. Those shares are to be held for long-term investment. And so if those shares are to be held for long-term investment, how am I going to make money on the Meltup? And my answer was to buy the GME coin, and this way I never have to sell shares. The ones pushing you away from the GME coin obviously want you to sell your shares during the Meltup. So I'd be very wary for those kind of accounts, because either they're not making any money off the Meltup, and so they just, I don't know what they've been doing here after 4 years, or they plan on selling their shares during the Meltup to profit. Both of those are just not good options for me. What if dilution? At what point is this move invalidated? Excellent question. No easy. I like that. So my invalidation, Jake, if you want to learn about the trigger system, you can just you can sign up to memestockwatch.com and use the code Meltup in all capital letters. So let's talk about dilution for a minute. If there is dilution, and we saw dilution in the past, 3 times already during this move. One is that I really don't believe at all that there will be dilution, because I think, this was always going to be the move, and I don't think dilution will affect it. But even if there is dilution, I think the most you'll get is a small little pullback towards the daily trigger and an excellent opportunity to buy more of the position. So I'm not worried about dilution in the slightest. I really do not. I'm not even thinking about dilution. Even if there is dilution, don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever. Griffin, I didn't speak about specific options dates, but I spoke about my mentality about options going into this position. So if you want, you could just go back to the beginning of the stream and you'll see it there. Mumu says, I told you DFV returns 100% at some point. He'll either post a YOLO update or file a 13G for 5% ownership. You're right. I'm wrong. I did not think he was coming back, because I thought this was all, going to happen no matter what. And so my bet was that he would not return, but I was wrong and he did return, and I will own up to that. Listen, I'm happy he's here. I am happy he's here. That's for sure. I'm very happy he's here, and he showed up just in time. I mean, it's always more exciting when Roaring Kitty is around. That's for sure. What are your thoughts as BTC being used as a hedge against GME? I don't think that's true, but I did show on the chart how something very similar happened, right before the last squeeze. So I'll show it one last time, and then anybody else just joining or that joins after, you'll see it. You'll see it when you rewatch the stream. So you could see this huge push up on Bitcoin here, and then this Bitcoin pullback is when the GME Meltup got cooking during this Bitcoin pullback. But then Bitcoin exploded higher as GME went higher. So I think we're in the same spot. Bitcoin made a huge push up, pulled back, GME started to go during this pullback, and now I think Bitcoin, starting about maybe mid this week or later this week, is going to start pushing way past 100K and continue its massive breakout with GME right alongside it. So I think GME is going to be going much higher here, and I think Bitcoin will be going much higher as well. I don't think it's like a do or die situation either way. I really don't. If you want to check out our trading indicators and our trading system, then you could go to memestockwatch.com, click on the platinum plan, and use code Meltup for a free month membership. By the way, let's just be clear about where I spoke about this thing. I first started bringing it up much lower prices. I was talking about it in the $40, $50 range, in the 0.40, 0.50 range, and that's where I was buying it. And when this this coin hits $1 billion, the people that faded it are not going to be too happy, but at least they'll they didn't buy a GME related shitcoin. Like, okay, that's not going to help your family grow in monetary value, but whatever they want to say, that's fine with me. Sometimes you got to go against the herd if you want to make money. Never forget that. How far do you think we'll retrace after the Meltup? I think we're going to retrace to the weekly trigger after the Meltup, but I think the weekly trigger will probably be like 40, 50 at that point. So you could see here when this Meltup started, price did pull back to the weekly trigger eventually, but the weekly trigger moved up an incredible amount since the start. So I think we're going to see the same thing. We're going to melt up, and then the weekly trigger will make some huge jumps. And then when this eventually tops out, where I don't have a price target, but I know where I want to sell my options, price will retrace to the weekly trigger, in my opinion, and then start a 2-3 year extremely strong bull trend, very similar to Tesla. So Mohammed, great question. I didn't speak about best timing to buy options. Rasul, stop spamming that. Yeah, I think the gang got the message about the GME coin. Good exposure to have if you don't want to sell your shares during the Meltup, but you still want to make a profit. That's it. It's very simple. And by the way, thank you for that $19.99 donation, Latinum. If you want to find out more about our trigger indicators, it's memestockwatch.com, platinum plan, use code Meltup. Anybody else got any questions? Happy to answer anything else you guys have. Why do you say that the Meltup will be weeks of continuous gapping up when even the 2021 Meltup was really only a couple of days? Great question. It might be shorter. Let's take a good look at this. So I would say the Meltup probably started on the 3rd and went to here. That's 15 days. So that's 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, which is basically what I was saying. All right, Russell, I'm gonna time you out because that's enough with that. They've seen that message before. Sorry, bro. Where can you buy GME on Solana? So again, I am not advocating for anybody to buy this, but what I am saying is that in my personal opinion, I think this will move very well when GME moves, and so I bought some so that I can make a profit here and not have to sell my GME shares. If you guys want to see something actually really cool, let me show you guys for a second the GME on Ethereum chart, and you'll see why I'm so bullish on the GME on Solana. So if you look here, you'll see like a long period of nothingness. And then since then, this coin is up 1,300%, 1,800%, right? So what happens during a downturn like this? So the coin did absolutely nothing for just about 115 days. And what this means is it's a deep accumulation where the buyers in this range refuse to let the floor drop out. So they held the floor incredibly well for 100 days. And when you hold a coin for 100 days and it starts to pump, you're not looking to profit immediately because you've held the coin for so long. And so when you have strong accumulation ranges like this, where people are just buying and holding, and then an eventual breakout, that's why you get 1,800% moves to the upside. And so when I look at the GME coin on Sol, I see this accumulation range that we've been in for, let's just say, 157 days, right? A whole lot more time. And so when I see that, and I know that a GME breakout is coming to the real stock, my mind tells me that this is seasoned holders who have been here refusing to let the floor drop out. And so once the pump starts, you don't have anybody looking to take quick gains because they've been holding for 152 days. And so if you put that similar 1,800% pump, you get $1.2 billion market cap. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm extremely bullish here, and I think this can do extremely well, but don't take that as me telling anybody to buy the coin. That's not what I'm doing. If you want to buy it, I posted a tutorial on my Twitter, a 9-minute video tutorial. Can you make a Fibonacci extension for price targets based on prior moves? Why is the 130 level significant? Excellent question, Saps. Happens to be, I'm actually not the Elliott Wave technician. I am the trigger guy, but Gavin May, our partner in the Discord, he's the one that comes up with targets, and he's been accurate for long enough for me to trust him. Why 130 per share and not more? Knowing the stock is overshorted, with that kind of run up, shorters will not be able to control the price anymore, right? Great question, Chakri, and that's what I started my stream with, is that that's not an end-all target. That's where I personally am looking to sell my options, because as I explained at the beginning of the stream, you could either sell options too early or too late. And this time, I'd much rather sell them much too early. Even if the stock goes to 3,000 on this move, at least I know that I took and secured profit. So I'm not trying to make $1 billion cajillion dollars off this. I'm trying to ride my options until a reasonable target, and then get rid of them. So if you want to hold on longer, that's more than fine with me. It's just my personal strategy here is to take my profit with my options, exit the trade, and leave my shares. Imagine GME squeezes before we got the GME Meltup before GTA 6. That's got to be a meme. Sovana says, you keep saying the same thing every week. Well, you are more than welcome to leave the stream, and then I won't have to bore you with